Up, CFO gang? It's your boy J Tuck live and direct from Oxnard, California, getting ready for Dallas Cowboys training camp. And as you guys see, I got my guy with me, BJ Nix in the house. What's going on, bro?
Man, not a whole lot, man. Kicking back, diving into all this content and news and different things we're getting from camp and whatnot. Seeing you living the good life out there in Vegas with a Mama Tuck, a belated, wonderful happy birthday to her. And you
Yeah,
finally made it to the motherland in Oxnard, sir.
yeah, I'm in the motherland, man, Oxnard, California, man, home of the Dallas Cowboys camp, man. So, I was out in Vegas. Shouts out to everybody, and shouts out to my guys, the UK Cowboys, man. We went out there, had a good time. They brought me on their live stream the other night, man. But for the most part, I was just enjoying my vacation, kicking back and relaxing. What's up, Rika? Let's see here. I like. See, I'm the first like. I win.
Yeah.
Yep, you win. So we're trying to make sure. So I guess we're live, man. Like I said, we're kind of shooting on the fly. I don't have my computer screen and all that stuff, the fancy stuff, man. We're gonna shoot from the hip. Let's make sure we live first, but we definitely got some things we want to get into. Yeah, we live. We are lit. There we go. There we go. There we go. I see my guy DMV in the house. Let's get these shares up. One second
Yeah,
here. You know how we
that's
do,
what I'm
man. But
doing.
BJ, how you feeling, man? How you feeling on this Friday, man?
Man, still a little bit sore throat. I'm hanging in there. I probably, if I sound bad, guys, I'm sorry. I'm battling a little bit of a cold here, But outside of that, man, looking good, feeling good, looking at these, they had the nice little cam for the players that are coming up, asking them their favorite slow song, their favorite slow jam. And we're kind of getting through that.
Right.
And Randy Gregory with the GOAT line. No slow jams. We just get to work. I said, my man.
Hey,
I said, all right, great.
speaking. Yeah, actually, speaking of Randy Gregory, so I think Brian Broaddus just announced that, Stephen Jones kind of announced, I guess, in-house that he's going to be part of the leadership council. So big move
Yeah.
for Randy Gregory. So it seems like things right now, considering the fact he's on the up and up, man, what you got to be excited about, Cowboys fan, man. So like I said, there's a few notes I got from the press today. I'm starting to hear some things floating around. Camp will begin back tomorrow, so I will be live and direct, like I said, covering Dallas Cowboys training camp, man. So definitely tune into that CFO channel, man. Cowboys fans only. Turn on that notification bell because we're going to keep the content fire tomorrow. But also make sure you follow my guys and my girl, Mariella, Spoonie, BJ Nix, and Professor O on the Star Game podcast. So I mentioned Randy Gregg, like I said, Leadership Council, but Dan Quinn made a comment today. I know we kind of posted, in our conversations,
Yeah.
and I personally don't like it. So he kind of mentioned that he's going to be starting off defensive coordinating from the press box. And it's something that I forgot what the coach he mentioned kind of, brought this to his attention. So he's going to start off in the preseason in the press box. So, Nick, let me know how you feeling about that whole situation.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of it. I've never been a
Right.
fan. So to me personally, the not the main coordinators, but your assistant coaches and different things. If you want them up there and feeding information and stuff, I'm kind of good with that. I always felt like your defensive coordinator, your offensive coordinator, there's a different feel when you're on the sideline than versus whenever you're in the box and hearing the
Right.
guys directly chatting in certain things. So, I was very vocal about it with Nolan last year. I'll continue to be vocal about it here and of course, that lasted about 2-3 weeks, and he came out of the box, and all of a sudden he was on the sidelines. As far as Dan Quinn goes, obviously we give him a little bit of length here to let him do it his way. But I mean, even before Nolan was here, it's just something personally I don't like. To me, offensive coordinator, I can kind of buy into a little bit more than the
Right.
defensive coordinator, man. It's just kind of how I've always felt when it comes to these coordinators being in the boxes.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like I said, it was one of those things I was kind of taken back when I saw the tweets today a few seconds ago. I'm like, he's going to be in the press box, and so I agree. And we've spoken about in length on my channel, also on your channel, about Dan Quinn being a teacher. And I feel like in the press box, you can't be down there
Yeah,
coaching and being hands on with the players if something's going wrong in the game. And so I just don't like it. And I didn't see this coming from Dan Quinn.
little
Maybe it's going to be
blindsided.
kind of. Yeah, I feel blindsided when it comes to this whole ordeal. So, will it change by season? It will. Hopefully, it's kind of an experiment process. He's going to start off in the press box during preseason, but hopefully he'll come back down, man. But I just don't feel comfortable with him being up there. I want him down the sideline, getting the feel for the game, everything going on, and being hands-on. And that's something he spoke about one of his strengths being.
Right. And again, and I'm with you, kind of unexpected. I just took it as a foregone conclusion he'd be on the sideline, to be honest with you.
Right.
Because of the hands-on as we're talking about, the teaching and stuff. Now this could be one of those things where you don't want too many cooks in the kitchen, right? He just came off of being a former head coach. We're into the second year, right, of Mike McCarthy. Obviously, Kellen Moore is the understudy that we kind of all look at. Him being the next guy up per se. So it could be some of that dynamic of, hey, go ahead, go up here. And maybe that's just what it's because maybe even Mike Nolan didn't want to be up there last year, right? And maybe this is a Mike McCarthy thing that we're not really talking about enough because Mike Nolan started off up there last year. Now here's Dan Quinn early ahead of it talking about it. Look, that's speculatory. I don't know if that's, Dan Quinn or excuse me, Mike McCarthy not wanting those things. But yeah, I'm right with you there, Chuck, on the definitely struck me as odd. I would not expect Dan Quinn to come out and say that. I figured he would definitely be a guy on the sideline.
Yeah, because salute to Cowboys Collective. He says, I agree, not a fan of coordinators in the box, especially with the ability to look over plays on the sideline with the Microsoft tablet, right? So what do you think the benefit is of having Dan Quinn up top in the press box?
I mean, I guess he gets a bird's eye view in real time, obviously. There's some of that to be had. Again, that's just kind of why I go back to the Mike McCarthy thing, and maybe Mike McCarthy just wants him because I think if you go back to Dom Capers, right, old football coach Dom Capers, former Carolina Panther, coach got to and playoffs early in their when they were a expansion team, and he was a defensive coordinator for McCarthy and Green Bay, if I'm not mistaken, when they got to the bowl. I'm pretty sure we looked it up. He was a guy that was in the box as well. So this is kind of why I'm wondering if this is just a Mike McCarthy kind of thing, and he kind of likes the defensive coordinator being in the box and maybe being a clear-cut voice on the sideline.
Yeah, maybe this is the Mike McCarthy thing, man. Like I said, I personally don't like it. What's up, Joseph? Said LV and Micah are looking good. Yeah, they're off to a good start. Yeah, I understand why DCs are in the box. The best to see the opposing offense, but it does concern me a bit, especially with some of the other defensive-minded coaches that we brought in house. Like I feel like that could be possibly their job, and they could maybe send things down to Dan Quinn. But I feel like Dan Quinn needs to be down there with the team in the foxhole. I just feel more comfortable with him doing that. So hopefully that will change by the time the season starts off. I think maybe it's going to be some because he never did it before, right? Prior to this,
not to my knowledge. Yeah, not to my knowledge. Other than maybe when he was like a D-line coach or something like that, he might be in the box. But as far as defensive coordinator and whatnot, always on the sideline, obviously as a head coach on the sideline. So definitely a change in stance from him.
Yeah, absolutely. And then see, Rika says, I don't mind the press box in preseason if he wants to view. He's deciding who to make the final roster. I felt like he said he was starting there, not meaning planning to stay there. Yeah, good point. Like I said, hopefully it's just going to be a temporary preseason thing. Let's see, I agree, Space. It could be a positive. Yeah, it could be a positive, man. So, I want to dive into a few things, and I got my notes, but I'm on the other computer where I got all my notes. So I'm going to try to see if I got it on my phone. But as far as the press conference is concerned, I do not have my notes. Let's see here. Interesting press conference from Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott, and also Kellen Moore.
Well, I'll tell you, Mike McCarthy.
There we go.
I was gonna say, Mike McCarthy is just slowly starting to get a little bit more comfortable with these press conferences, ain't he?
Yeah, he is. So he spoke about why the team is actually getting a rest today. He said he wanted to kind of keep them in the rhythm, but they're going to be like probably in the regular season. So he said they had meetings this morning. They went through mock gaming and reinstalls, went over 40 plays of game management. Now, this is a hot topic button right now because we all know that Dak Prescott is currently battling the injury with the muscle soreness. Now, Dak says it's nothing to be too alarmed about. If we're in the regular season, he probably wouldn't have came out of the game or he'd be ready to play Sunday, which I do agree. But he said that the quarterbacks are doing an excellent job. So that quarterback, I assume he's speaking to, is Ben DiNucci, Gary Gilbert, and those other backups. So how do you feel going into this season, Knicks, with just having the backups currently that we have on the roster?
Okay. So shout out to my guy KMT in the building. What's going on?
What's up, KMT? What's going on, bro?
A little bit of a knee jerk because we heard a lot of interceptions, right? It was 3 one day, it was 5 the next day, But let's remind everybody, the 3 were from Dak the first day. It wasn't from the backups. Now, That got hurt on the fly. You had to change things, went left, and these things happened, right? But
Right.
we look at if you look into some of the reps and what's happening when it comes to Gilbert, because remember everybody loved Gilbert coming into camp, right? And everybody last year was like,
Right.
"Get Dalton
'Cause
out of here.
that one
Gilbert's
Steelers
the guy."
game.
Right, that
Right.
one Steelers game. Here's Gilbert. So, I mean, training camp's going to be ups and downs. I mean, now Ben DiNucci has looked bad. I mean, let's be clear. We're not going to mince words. There's nothing really to discuss there. Year 2, he has
Right.
not been good as a backup. But I
Right.
think Gilbert is catching a
Right.
little bit of that DiNucci funk, if you will, on him. And he's not played as bad or nearly as bad people think he's played just because of the interceptions and things that are happening with Ben DiNucci. So, for me, it doesn't really matter. Look, if that goes down, this ship's sinking either way, guys. Hey, look, we had Andy Dalton last year. The ship still sunk. I don't really know if there's anybody you can go out there right now and be the Blake Bortles of the world. I mean, he's not great. He's got more experience,
So who would be your options? I know that Professor O was mentioning kind of Bortles as being that second option. RG3's name is still kind of floating out there, but at this point of the season, do we have a quote unquote guy that we could go get to be a substantial backup if something was to go wrong with Dak Prescott? I think we missed that boat. I think we just kind of got to roll with the guys that we currently have in house.
Yeah, I mean, look, and a lot of people say RG3, and actually, I think Valley just jumped it in there too.
Yeah, Mama Tuck says
Mama Tuck,
RG3.
Mama Tuck. Happy birthday, Mama Tuck. Happy birthday. But again, I don't think RG3 is ready to play. I think RG3 is on to the ESPNs, the FS1s of the world. I think he's ready to transition to that next phase of his life and his career, and just speak and talk about football more so to get be interested in being a backup and playing anywhere. The mentions will be thrown out there. Obviously, when we get to cut down day, that'll be a little interesting to see what quarterbacks are out there and whatnot. But I mean, guys, Tuck, I'll ask you. Who's the one guy that can possibly get released? Whatever we're going to bring in here and be like, okay, well, if that goes down, we're going to be just fine.
We're good.
I don't think that guy exists, right?
That guy doesn't exist. Because even last year, I mean, even though we actually went through it, which we didn't think we were going to go through it, having Andy Dalton back there, I felt so much better. Now, granted, I was like, well, Dak's not going to get hurt. He's the most durable quarterback, and here we go. But then he goes down. But then I felt okay. At least having Andy Dalton back there versus if we would have just had Ben DiNucci, Garrett Gilbert, or Cooper Rush back there. So he gave us some hope. I mean, my guy Rome, Cowboys fan talk, he's actually tossing the Eagles fan to the air fryer right now. But he was like, Andy Dalton can do this. Like he was real heavily on the Andy Dalton train last year when Dak went down, that he can keep the ship afloat. Because some of the games, to be honest, y'all, if we didn't have Andy Dalton, we would have lost those games. Like, that game that we beat the New York Giants back and he made that throw.
Right.
If we didn't have him, we wouldn't have won that game. I don't feel like we would have beat San Francisco. I don't feel like we would have beat the Vikings. So, like, some of those games, Andy Dalton, you got to give him some credit because we at least had a quarterback back there that was functional versus if something unfortunate was to happen right now, we're just SOL. I see that Steve says trade for Nick Foles. I don't see the Cowboys placing a trade. And I don't think Nick Foles would be that guy if they were. Like, I feel like it would have to be a situation where Dak really does go down for a length of time before the Cowboys.
I'll give you a scenario.
And bring him back.
Like, I'll give you a scenario. And look, I don't anticipate this happening. We didn't space it.
Knock on wood.
Knock on some wood here, Cowboys Nation. But for instance, if something was to happen with Dak and he's going to be gone long term, this is where you can see the front office go get creative, and you would look at like a San Francisco. Okay, have they made the move to Trey Lance already? Okay, well, hey, we'll take Jimmy G off your hands. If they're trying to salvage, this season, like you can kind of look around the league with those kind of scenarios per se of a guy that's got an incumbent there. Hey. What's Teddy Bridgewater up to? Can we pull a trigger and get a Teddy B over here? So it would be like one of those kind of guys. But I think for the most part, I'm with you, Tuck. I don't think there's a trade imminent that's going to happen. I think they're going to roll with what they have. And now cut down days, we'll see who gets released, and maybe they decide to add something there. But I think for the rest of the camp, I don't think much is going to happen at the quarterback position. Much maligned to a lot of our fans and even us to a certain extent.
Right. I agree. I think, and Kellen Moore kind of spoke about it. Is like, they got off to a rough start, but they're improving and they're getting reps that they normally wouldn't get if Dak Prescott was out there. So it sounds like Garrett Gilbert, Ben DiNucci, Those are going to be our
Cooper,
insurance policies.
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush. Like, yeah, man. So it's I don't see them making a move, especially for RG3 or one of these players that we spoke about, or Nick Foles. Joseph says, so you're telling me Andy Dalton cost me Pitts? Yeah, he cost you Pitts. Yeah, because think about it. If we had Ben DiNucci out there for 3 more games, oh yeah, we'd have been right there, man. It says Laurel says give Cap a workout. Why not? Yeah, that ship's pretty much sailed, man. Like, that's a lot, now if the Patriots kind of go through a situation where Mac Jones kind of takes the reins and becomes the starter, then you could have a Cam Newton kind of sitting there. I wouldn't be opposed to that. But I know a lot of Cowboys fans don't want Cam, but for a backup, I'm definitely.
If let's say the stars align and they're going to move on, I don't think that'll happen. But let's say they happen to release him and he's open to come in behind somebody. Sure, absolutely. That's the kind of guy that you're looking to get, somebody that has experience. Now, you're not going to get a lot of former, NFL MVPs in starting quarterbacks as your backup. But if the opportunity aligned itself, you would be foolish not to take a chance on it. No different than getting Andy Dalton in here last year if you're able to do that. Man. If the stars align, sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. If it aligns, but I don't see them being aggressive and making any moves. Now, switching out, if something was to happen with Dak Prescott, Mike McCarthy spoke about a 2-back, formation. So I guess we're seeing a lot of 2-back sets out there in camp. And he talked about going back to phone booth football, with having Zeke and also Tony Pollard and maybe bringing a fullback. And then also Kellen Moore spoke about giving Tony Pollard more opportunities to do what he does best, whether it's in special teams, whether it's at the wide receiver and the running back position. So do you think that we are actually finally, as Cowboys fans, are going to see Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott utilized in the manner we've been wanting for so long? No. Smoke screen? All right.
We've heard this song. Look, the world's smallest violin over here. Right. Man, we hear this. Look, whether it was the last regime, the current regime, man, we have heard this. And look, an even different combination of players, right? We heard about all this. Oh, it's going to be 2-back. We're going to do so much and do this. And we hear it. And, look at in the training camp. Look at this. Oh, they're actually doing it. And then, then we get to actual game day. And they're like, oh,
right.
That was cool. So I hope, sure, we would love to see that. For me, Tuck, I'm like, well, we'll see. Shout out to my guy, Big Game James. We'll see. Week 1. We'll see. We'll see. I would love to see it. But, now I do like the idea of if someone's having a deck in that phone booth, though, and that's something maybe they could have done a little bit more last year. And, again, a coach learning on the fly, but that phone booth sounds nice. We got to go that route.
Yeah. Shout out to my guy West Coast, run the damn football. If something does happen with Dak and you got Garrett Gilbert out there, definitely that's going to be the route that we're going to have to go. But I've been banging the desk for this for so long, man. Like to have Zeke and Tony Pollard and utilize them both, it's a weapon because, like I said, you can shift your formation and your scheme based on Tony Pollard, whether you have to consider him a wide receiver or also a running back as well. And then also Mike McCarthy spoke about Michael Gallup, also CeeDee Lamb, about them being interchangeable right now because CeeDee Lamb's getting a lot of reps outside due to Malik Hooker being out. So he talked about Michael Gallup being able to play inside, outside. Also CeeDee Lamb be able to play inside and outside as he's starting to grow and emerge to being that number 1 wide receiver in Dallas. And so I think that's what they're going to do. Kellen Moore's going to utilize his weaponry offensively to different schemes, and he's going to try to get the best out of the best. Now, a huge conversation, Knicks, is what a lot of people are talking about offensively. The huge competition is the tight end position. We're starting to see Dalton Schultz, become that guy. And I know last year we had a conversation. We're like, could Dalton Schultz kind of be one of the guys that are on the out? But it sounds like, Dalton Schultz is starting to take the reins of this tight end 1 position. So what is your thoughts on this tight end competition right now?
It's fantastic. 12 personnel, I'm a big believer of attacking the middle of the field. We've talked a ton, we've talked a ton about the teams that are really good, throw the ball in between the hashes, not really outside the hashes. Whenever you start getting to the top echelon, you start looking at the top 7 and up teams. The majority of their throws are in between the hashes. I use Patrick Mahomes as an example. I think last year he had maybe a total of 80 of attempts that were outside the hashes. It's in there. So if Schultz is able to step up and starve off a Jarwin, fantastic for him to walk through that door and, be that 4th round pound guy that we took out of Stanford. But my goodness, we know what Blake can bring if he's healthy. And, that 12 personnel, especially when we talk about that 25-yard line and getting that red zone, be able to attack that middle, it gets me excited. Yeah, it gets me excited in the red zone.
It does. Let me ask you this, Nick, because I've been asked this question on other shows, and I want to get your take on this. What do you think that Dalton Schultz brings to his offense that Blake Jarwin necessarily doesn't, and vice versa?
I think Blake is more. Look, and when I say this, I'm not saying they're the same top players. Okay, I'm just saying in the mold of, is that Blake is more of your Kelsey style. Not to say that Kelsey's a terrible blocker or anything, but he gives you a little bit more on the passing side. As compared to Dalton, is a little bit more of your Witten style, a younger Witten. He's not as fast, he's definitely not as slow as Witten was here towards the end of that 5-3, but he can do a little bit better. I must say he's as great as Witten was, but he can block a little bit better. He just gives you a little bit more some route running and whatnot. So, Jarwin's your more athletic tight end, and Schultz is your more traditional route running style tight end. It's kind of what you look at. But again, it's a great formula to have. This is something, when we had Witten and Bennett at one time, my goodness, back to the double running back situation. I mean, how many times when we had Witten here, this double tight end, this 12 personnel, and we just never saw it. And we had an opportunity with like the Witten and Bennett's of the world, or even I'll give Escobar a chance. I mean, my God, the kid got buried by Witten. And we could have ran some 12 to see, what they could have done there. So I'd be excited to see Jarwin and Schultz and actually run some 12 personnel, especially in the red zone, because we were driving that pit straight, Tuck. One of our things about that pit straight was in that damn red zone.
Exactly. Like I said, what happens is you can take Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin and do the fusion dance. You could have got Kyle Pitts, but it's like, all right, so we got to start working things out. But you're also hearing things about McKinnon and some other tight ends starting to get some good looks as well as camping. So like I said, I can't wait to see it tomorrow. But now you got to see these guys. What can they do with not Dak Prescott, but with Garrett Gilbert and Ben DiNucci? And so that's going to be an interesting thing to see tomorrow at camp. Joe says, anybody here if Dak is okay? Yeah, he's okay. Like I said earlier, Dak had mentioned himself. If we were in the season, he would be able to play Sunday, or if he was in the game, he wouldn't have pulled himself out. It's kind of a precautionary that he was throwing, and he was like, all right, something doesn't feel right. So instead of forcing his way through practice, it's best to sit out. So, I don't see any concerns. And we know, like, even back when we had Romo, like Romo used to get those veteran days off, kind of heal his body. Like he wasn't out there every day. So of course, mainstream media kind of took the story and ran with it. Like as soon as I saw that go, I'm like, here we go. And it was just like people were texting me, Dak's out for the first 3 games of the season. And it's like, that works on somebody else, but it doesn't work on me because we're actually tuned in on what's going on. And so Todd Archer even went on ESPN and said, no, it's just a precautionary thing. It's like, if you're running right now, my ankle's a little sore. I could probably push it and run, or I can just kind of chill and walk because I don't want to hurt myself right now while I'm in Oxnard. Like, just chill out a little bit. So I wouldn't be alarmed, Cowboys.
Well, when you had it, and it didn't help. David Moore from was it Dallas Morning News kind of had an article. It was kind of vague. Could be out for a couple of weeks. So people kind of took the headline and kind of ran with it. But like you said, Dak himself said, I mean, if he had to play a game, he could play a game. They're just being look. And I guess let's kind of transition that real quick too. Like D-Law could go right now.
Right, he could.
Amari actually could probably go right now as well too. They're just being super cautious, this coaching staff and front office, after what happened last year. And I mean, look at it. Does D-Law Amari really need these reps? I mean, honestly, not right here in July when our first game is in September. So they're just being cautious. Apparently Dak, didn't warm up properly. He said he felt the throw where he probably did it and said, okay, cool. He still got out there, was throwing some left-handed passes, went through the drills, running and everything. And much to do about nothing. But this time of the year, got to be a little nervous. Got to protect number 4. Yeah,
it's early. That's the main thing is like those little nagging injuries. If you start to press through it earlier on right now in the season, press through it. Do what you got to do. But right now in preseason and in this training camp, don't worry. Sit out, man. You get the mental. That's when he mentioned that he was out there. He had his helmet on. He's still making calls. He saw him still taking snaps from Biotish and throwing with his left arm. So it's just being precautious. What's up to my guy Dylan in the house, man? He says Jarwin is faster, has better hands, and it's more of a threat down the seams, in my opinion.
I don't know about better hands. I agree with everything else. I agree with everything. Look, Schultz, Schultz surprised a lot of people.
Schultz was young, reliable. We call Jason Witten old reliable. Like Schultz was young, reliable last season, so you really can't knock him. And it's like if he kind of builds off of that momentum that he had from last year, and plus that wasn't with Dak Prescott, so it's going to be an interesting conversation. See how that things work out. Cowboys has a Super Bowl offense. Yeah, I agree, Joseph.
Yeah, I've been pounding the table all offseason. Can the defense come along for the ride?
Yeah, exactly. Now, let's switch over to the defense. Now Mike McCarthy mentioned a few things about the cornerbacks, and he said Anthony Brown looks great. He was like, he's put on the proper side. He's off to a great start. He's doing all the right things, taking veteran leadership. He talked about how having depth at the cornerback position is the most important, so he's really not focusing on who's going to be, quote unquote, the guy, because, when it comes down to, different sub packages, you're going to need a variety of different corners out there on the field. What is your take about Anthony Brown? Do you think that the smokescreen, or does Anthony Brown really have a fighting chance to keep that cornerback 2 position?
Yeah, I mean, what else can Mike McCarthy say right now?
Right, and that's the thing. We're not getting no high Clinton Diggs in for this year camp.
Yeah,
that's why I'm ready to see tomorrow. Like, all right, I need to see it myself. Who's out there playing bad? Because right now everybody's on fire. Like I said, last year when you think about camp, it's like everyone was great. But you were hearing Clinton Diggs, like, all right, like, okay, didn't have a good day today. All right. But according right now, nobody's had a bad day at camp. So it's going to be interesting to see how things shape up. Now, from what I've seen from the views I had at camp, Anthony Brown has played solid. A lot of the players in the secondary, Boston has played decent as well. We all saw the Trayvon Diggs one-handed grab, Trayvon Diggs going to Trayvon. And then, Nahshon Wright, the hype was kind of fizzling down a little bit when it comes to Nahshon. So, and he also mentioned about Maurice Kennedy, about having the instincts and ball skills out there. So he's very impressed. And so it's going to be interesting how things shake up. What is your thoughts on the cornerback position and how things you think is going to actually shake up?
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, and I'm going to keep. I mean, this has been my narrative when it comes to cornerback. I've said it before camp, and I'm going to continue on that ride. We really need either Kelvin Joseph or Nahshon Wright to really walk through the door and stanch the number 2 outside corner. This is how I feel about it. Let's go with the youth movement. Let's see. So
are you with the youth movement out the gate? Just put the young guys out there, boss man.
Yeah. I mean, we can't protect them. We can't hide them forever. And
we can hide them from Tom Brady, though.
Well, I mean, they already said we got to rotate them. So I mean, the way the rotation is going to work. Yeah, but I'm like, for me, when it comes to Anthony Brown, it's just, if he's not just, light years ahead of these guys, why keep him? And just let's let the project happen and let it begin. I think what a lot of people, they talk about the rookie contract for the quarterback. I mean, that could be said for your linebacker or your cornerback, for instance. Why waste a year of this young money because you're going to keep Anthony Brown ahead of him? Let's throw him into the fish fry. Let's see what he's got, barbecue or mildew, if you will, and see what we got something instead of, but can Anthony Brown hold on for 1 year? So again, yes. Does Anthony Brown have opportunity? Yes, I absolutely believe they do. They have built this for competition. So media talked about, and one of the best things that we like about this camp, there is true competition at this camp. But man, what's best for business for the Cowboys, besides trade for Xavier Howard, which they're not going to do, just saying, is for Nahshon Wright or not Kelvin Joseph.
Not yet.
Not yet. Right, not yet. Put a pin in.
Yeah. What's going on, Sadiqa? So yeah, like I said, I think we're going to see how things go in the preseason.
What do you think? You think Brown's going to be the opening day number 2?
If I had to put money on it, I just got back from Vegas. I would say yes. I would say Anthony Brown would be the cornerback. I just don't see.
Y'all think they'll trust the Young Bucks?
Tossing him out to fire, not opening game. But it'll be a slow play. Play. But I feel like Dan Quinn is going to want to have some veteran-type corners out there. So I think you'll have Diggs, Jordan Lewis, Anthony Brown, and then Boston will kind of be in that rotation. But I just don't see opening night, them tossing them out. But we'll get to see, next Thursday night Hall of Fame game, it's time to really put things into play and see.
And we got to remember, and another guy too. We got to remember, a candidate in the kind of camp he's been having so far too, from all the reports, and how is that going to factor into the mix? So it's interesting. I think, if I'm not mistaken, and then they were talking about typically like to keep 10, but what you call 10 total DBs. But then Mike McCarthy said something about, well, we've done 12 and 13 before, and I was like,
yeah. So he was including all this the safeties and the corners all as far as the secondary position. So he said they've done 12 to 13. I was just like, that's a little
long.
Much. Yeah, a little too long. So I don't think we're going to keep that many as far as the secondary is concerned. Now he did kind of give some when a one player was mentioned, that was Reggie Robinson. He's like he's looking better. I really want to take advantage of that special teams. And so kind of, reading between the lines, it sounds like, Reggie Robinson this year is going to be more of a special teams guy versus actually being out there as far as the cornerback position. He said that Reggie isn't thinking as much, and that's probably due because last year he's playing a position he never played before. So now he's kind of going back to corners where he, plays best, but it wasn't, Reggie's playing great. And, this
what a big stamp. Yeah, it was a big stamp. Yeah. Yeah, kind of tiptoeing around it. Yeah, now, of course, right now he did get a lot of reps during the padded practice, though. That we do know, and the word was held his own. So again, nothing really just stamping him like you said, little special teams, So look, it's one of those guys that you've talked about, I've talked about. Look, he was Willie McClay's pet cat of last year's draft, right? And I just, it's a different coordinator here now on the defense, and I just don't know, if it's not special teams, is special teams even going to be enough, right, for that kid? Because they've moved him around so much, and I hate it for the kid, but the amount of squandered him out the gate, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to wait and see. Now, we haven't spoken about it, but we did bring in a safety, right? You know what I'm saying? Finally, the Cowboys got a safety in Malik Hooker. So, Nix, how are you feeling about the Malik Hooker signing, and what is your expectations for Malik with this Dallas Cowboys defense?
Man, I'll tell you, it depth-wise, I feel comfortable now. I feel comfortable now. I got KZ, I got Wilson, I got Curse, I got Hooker. I feel comfortable at the depth now. And there's some competition to be had. They're going to bring me along slow with the injury. But, yeah, I think just for me, from the depth standpoint and the competition standpoint, I feel great, right? Obviously, former 15th overall first-round pick. When healthy, is played pretty damn good. But again, therein lies the devil in the details. He's the oft-injured, if you will, Malik Hooker. But same thing with KZ. They were waiting to see. And so far, he's played. He all of a sudden turned it on as soon as Hooker got here, right? So we're seeing that happen. Again, that competition. So for me, I like it from the depth and the competition standpoint. Is he going to walk in and turn this defense around and put the safety position overnight? I don't know. I got to see him run more, see where his health really is. I told everybody that, they're going to bring him along slow. Steven even backdoored it like, hey, we're not rushing him into things. We're going to get him in here, get him acclimated. And hey, look, smartly, right? Smartly. Exactly. So from a depth standpoint, I love it. I mean, will Darian Thompson finally be off this roster? I don't know. But hey,
why is Darian Thompson still here?
He's hanging on.
He's hanging on by a thread, man.
Parker,
when you used to watch wrestling, you get the 1, 2, and get the kick back, and that's Darian Thompson right now. Like, he just won't go down. And it's like, why are you still here?
He's like, I still got a dog in this fight.
He's still fighting, man. So, but yeah, man, I'm ecstatic about the Malik Hooker thing. I know my guy Spoonie is as well. Like, we've all been wanting, quote unquote, a safety. Now, is he going to be the guy we've seen pre-injury? We don't know. As I said yesterday, shout out to my guys, the UK Cowboys. It's a minimal investment with a massive upside. So it's like, if you're able to get what he was prior to injury, you're going to have one hell of a player that can definitely add a lot of new things to our defense, especially in the secondary position. But if things do not work with Malik Hooker, we do have KZ, as you mentioned. We also have Curse. You have Donovan Wilson. Keanu O'Neal's kind of looking a little bit better as a linebacker in coverage. And so you have some of these guys you can always rotate around. So I think that you don't necessarily need to pinpoint anyone at a unique position this year. You can just see rotation coming through, and may the best man win. You might see one player at this position for this game, and you might see things change. So I think it's going to be trial by fire until we really get those guys who really takes the positions and runs with it, which I'm okay with. Like I said, but the hard part about it is our schedule. coming out the gate. It's like, all right,
Bang,
you ain't
bang.
got too,
Yeah.
you ain't got
Bang,
too much time
bang.
to experiment. I mean, you just saw, Herbert just throw the pretty much 92-yard the touchdown today at camp, and everyone's going crazy about. So we got some wide receivers as the weaponry out the gate. So we're definitely going to figure it out. But I'm okay with our front seven going to be able to cause pressure, and maybe some of these guys in the secondary will slowly emerge. It says, I just need an extra defensive tackle. What's up, my guy, Tyrone? So how are you feeling as far as the defensive tackle? Do you feel like we need an extra? I feel like we have enough as of yet. Now, Tristan Hill's the huge question mark, as of right now. But, I feel like what we have right now, we have more than enough. Would you say?
Yeah, no, I think we're good. Neville Gallimore walking through that door and what he's going to be for this team. Obviously, Watkins coming up that we signed. That he's definitely got a defined role. He's going to play some 5 and some 1s. They got some things for him. Urban, who we brought in, is going to be there. Obviously, Hill. We got to wait and see what happens with Hill. But then you go back and look. You drafted Osa. You drafted Bohanna.
Right.
Just, I mean, you got a log jam there. I mean, obviously the person they're going to mention, he's been kind of hovering around is Geno Atkins going to be that guy possibly. He's been checked in, right? Which look, I mean, you're not going to be mad at adding Geno Atkins, right?
Not at all.
If he's cleared, But again, there will be other slots that I'm looking to maybe do something than where we are at defensive tackle. I feel pretty good at defensive tackle, but sure. I mean, look, as Stephen Jones says, this is a talent acquisition business, 365 days a year. So if something lands and it's an upgrade, then you should definitely pull the trigger and do it.
Yeah, I agree. But so you mentioned there's another slot you're thinking about filling. What is that slot that you would think about filling the void?
Hey man, I'm sorry. Youth movement be damned. I'm still not happy at cornerback. I'm just not.
Yeah.
And look, and take the Xavier Howard thing out of that because I've mentioned that a time before Xavier Howard was even made available. Is that, man, I wanted them to bring a veteran in before camp, and then I kind of wanted them before the draft. It didn't happen. And I knew we had painted ourselves in the corner in the draft a little bit. I wanted to bring one in after camp, they got the kid from the Jets. I forgot his name. He signed a 2-year deal, but I mean, he's a camp body. I mean, the pools of the world. Some guys, my guy, he was a slot guy. He ended up over the Eagles from the former Steelers. Stevie, I mean, just some of those guys, man. I want to see them bring in, and they just didn't. So it's just, that's why for me, I'm just like, look, if we're not going to make a move for like an Xavier Howard or whatnot. I mean, in my mind, I just don't think Kelvin Joseph's so much worse than Anthony Brown that we should be putting Anthony Brown out there instead of Kelvin Johnson. That's just kind of where I'm at. No disrespect to Anthony Brown whatsoever, but I'm like, you spent the 44th overall pick, which J Tuck had him number 44 on his board. Bada bing, bada boom. You match that up, right? Then stick him out there and let him play ball, and let's go.
Just my luck, right? lucky me, right?
Well, maybe if you would have put Samuel Jr. 44, maybe it would have.
In a parallel universe, man. I did it
the
wrong,
power
man.
you wield, sir. You didn't understand.
Exactly, man. But yeah, I agree. Like I said, I think that I agree. If Anthony Brown isn't marginally better than the young guys in Nation Wright and also Boss Man, then if it's like, all right, you're going back and forth which one to go, you might as well just go with the young kid and put him out there. But it's like, all right, what does the experience really give you out there? Because like I said, Trayvon Diggs is still fairly young in his own right.
And we threw him out there.
Yeah, I think, but we haven't have any choice though, kind of last year. But I think that.
I mean, do we really have a choice? I mean, do we really have a choice now?
I know.
Look, hold on. Because, look, you said we didn't have a choice last year, right? Let's run it down. It was Anthony Brown here, right? It was Jordan Lewis.
But who was hurt? Was it Cheeto? And
Cheeto.
But one of them was hurt opening game, right?
No, Cheeto got hurt, I think, in week 1 or 2 or something like that. But still.
Cheeto got hurt.
But you had those.
Worley. But Worley started, though, didn't he?
Worley got played well until he kept getting – So, Mr. Worley. But I mean, I don't really put that on Worley. I put it on our defensive coordinator more than anything. But no, I'm just saying. I mean, these same kind of guys are around here. I'm like, okay, so Diggs was able to go instead of J. Lou or Anthony Brown. So Kelvin Joseph, boss man fat, let's go. I mean,
Right.
I'm not scared. I wasn't scared about Diggs playing last year. I'm like, earn your stripes, let's go. I'm definitely not scared about him this year. And on the same token, I mean, you drafted these guys, you can't be scared to play. That's one of the things that I always thought that Jason Garrett did wrongly at times was they would get young guys and they'd be scared to play them. And it's like, look, you drafted them for a reason. And if you're not going to go out here and get big free agents, then these young guys you're drafting have to help you. You have to play them. You know, these bottom barrel basement guys that you're getting aren't going to help you. You got to play these young bucks to see what they got. So for me, and how I feel, Tampa Bay be damned. I know those weapons that are coming.
And that's the thing. I wish it was like the old days when we used to start off with a Giant or something
Right.
like that. You know, it was like one of those warm-up games, I would be okay. But it's like, bro, like Tampa Bay, I was like, all right, you know, you got Evans out there, Antonio Brown, you know.
I mean, we can look. How about this? We can settle out a core. We can keep Anthony Brown on the roster. Just let Boss Man go out there and start. If you start sinking early, like, all right, fam.
All right. Tag
in.
After the first cannon, all right, bro. So it's going to be interesting to see how things shake out. Like I said, the cornerback position. Yeah, I would address it too, man. But like I said, my huge question mark was the cornerbacks. But I'll say this: after bringing in Hooker, you know, I kind of feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
I know that I'm gonna have
safety play can help your corners a lot.
Exactly. The front seven and also safety play can help your corners a lot. But can't go get me a guy. Like if you can go just get Xavier Howard right now, just go get him. I would be okay with that, man, because it would definitely make a difference to our defense, especially the secondary is concerned. My guy, Professor O, says, got my shirt, man. It's great quality, feels good. Yeah, man. CFO gang, man. Cowboys fans only support the movement, man. I appreciate everyone who's been buying the shirts, man. I appreciate all that. Let's see here. Playing bums over youth is stupid.
With a great point.
People really need to quit saying he beat J. Lou.
Right.
That was hype. That was hype that got him ahead of J. Lou. J. Lou, his job as a rookie and his play behind him due to height since. You're talking about Anthony Brown?
Right.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I agree. I agree that J. Lou has been a much better corner than Anthony Brown since he's been here, but for some reason,
They won't play him on the outside. They're going to stick him in the slot. They're just not going to let him play outside, no matter who's been here.
Right, I agree. Let's see here. What else do we got? So actually, to talk about the defense, Dak Prescott mentioned a great point. So you mentioned earlier that Dak threw about 3 of those picks, earlier on before the backups really got in and did their thing. But he mentioned that even though this Dan Quinn scheme is similar to what we saw in 2019, the pre-snap reads are different and more confusing, and also the post-snap reads are a little bit more confusing, which is causing him to hold the ball a little bit longer than he wants to, which is a good thing for the defense, right? And so, I think you're already seeing that Dan Quinn effect on this defense. And then also LVE kind of spoke about, how things are simplified for him. And we spoke about this on your channel, my channel, that Dan Quinn is going to simplify things, not just from a scheme perspective, but just from your responsibility. And players are going to be able to do what they do best. And I feel like LVE is already out the gate, one of those players who kind of take off with that. Randy Gregory as well. It's a simplified approach. Do your job and use your skill set. So, from a Cowboys fan perspective, man, I'm excited about I'm drunk off Kool-Aid still, Oxnard Kool-Aid. And I'm probably going to be
it's honeymoon season. It's still honeymoon season.
Tomorrow. I'm going to be intoxicated tomorrow. I can't lie, man. I see all the fandom going on. And
I'll
be drunk off Kool-Aid, man. Kool-Aid stains all over my shirt tomorrow.
Big facts.
It is what it is, man. But I'm starting to get excited about this Dan Quinn defense, y'all. I just need them to come back down to the field. Just do that. Just
play with this in preseason all you want to.
Yeah.
Week 1, though, need you on that sideline there, Dan.
Exactly. So, another guy we spoke about earlier.
Well, real quick, let me touch on that. Because me and Skywalker on Twitter kind of talked about this a couple of days ago about this defense. And I tell people a lot, like I cringe because everyone says, oh, we're just going back to the Rob Marinelli, Christian Sharp defense. And I cringe a little bit on that because yes and no. Yes, there's some, like, the gap integrity and different things are similar, but the looks and the things that they do pre and post snap, aren't the same kind of things. So I know Cowboys Nation, wants to go back to that because some of these players are good, and they're just saying, well, Rashad was here, so it's going to be he's from there. It's going to be pretty similar. There will be some simulated things that they do after the snap, but from what their responsibilities will be. But there's a lot of stuff that they do that is different than what the Rob Marinelli regime was here. We even heard, about certain guys, hey, we couldn't disguise what we were doing. I couldn't step up when I was really dropping. Like that's not going to be a problem with Quinn and letting these guys have some mobility pre-snap to do some things and whatnot. So while there will be some similar things to the Rob Marinelli style, it is different. And I don't want people to get caught up on that. We're just going back to that. But I just want to kind of touch on that. I thought that was an interesting
we're not just going to copy and paste and just press the reset button. Like sometimes the computer freezes, press the reset button. We're not going to just reset and go back to 2019 what Rob Marinelli do. We're going to go back to that similar structure, but some of the language is going to be different. And Dan Quinn has a lot more weaponry than what Rob Marinelli had as well. So he can be a lot more creative as far as how he wants to map out this defense. So I would definitely be excited if you're a Cowboys fan. The offense is able to maintain what we saw from the past 2 years. And then you have Dan Quinn leaving his imprint with this defense, and you're starting to see it early because if you're kind of keeping his tally right now, defense is kind of winning camp thus far, right? I mean, you've seen a lot of explosive plays from Bohanna's playing well. You're seeing Brent Urban making plays. You're seeing Randy Gregory dominate.
I'm telling you, Neville Gallimore is not getting talked about enough, though, brother. I'm telling you, man.
Neville Gallimore,
the Galla monster.
And this is without DeMarcus Lawrence. The trenches are looking well right now, and that's the thing we've always spoke about. Your front seven, so you see the linebackers flying.
And looking right, Dan Quinn, right? He came into the league cutting his teeth on D line. And if Gallimore and whether that combination is going to be next to him is able to do their job, it's not just about keeping the linebackers clean in this thing. Ooh, them edges are low because now that quarterback can't. Imagine how many sacks we missed out last year where the edges flew by, but they just had that clear path to step up in the pocket. And when you get that nice little push right there, that stops, that makes the bell out the back, and then those sacks and turnovers and things will start coming.
Right, because Dak mentioned as well, our Basham, he's always being a vocal leader out there, kind of, you know what I'm saying? So he's out there trash talking. He's kind of being one of the spark plugs defensively as well. So you got some of this new blood coming in with this defense. You're starting to see it. And even the plays that we see offensively, like the big C Lamb catch, at least they're making the wide receivers have to go up and make a big play. Because last year, it was like you and me could have just caught those balls. We were wide open. Like the CeeDee Lamb has to actually go up and cover and make a one-hand grab and toe drag to get his feet in. That's rewarding to see that the defense is actually applying pressure. Let's see. Matt O said, "Did you catch Kellen Moore mention?" Yeah, so I'm going to go to that next. So he mentioned Joe Looney in his press conference. He said, "Tyler's hurt and Joe's not here right now." And I was like, "What? Hey, what do you mean here right now?" Yeah, because he was talking about Connor Williams playing left guard, but also getting reps at center. And he said that Connor Williams is our left guard, or that's where he's in competition for. He's competing for the left guard position, but he's going to be our left guard, right? But he was saying that his versatility, he can play center in case something happens with Tyler Biadasz, because Tyler's hurt and Looney is not here right now. So do you think that the Dallas Cowboys are actually going to bring Joe Looney back? Because we haven't heard him being picked up anywhere else.
I think this is one of those wink, wink. Hey, just hang tight. Week 1, we'll play week 1, and then we'll sign you because the way that the CBA works and the salary cap and stuff is. So once you get through week 1, you can sign a veteran, and their contract isn't fully guaranteed. So at any point in time, if you want to move off of that said veteran, it's not going to hurt your cap or have dead money against the cap the following year. So to me, I think this is one of those things where they feel like they can get through training camp without having Looney here at week 1, and then after week 1, I think that's where, or as soon as we get to playing that Thursday, Friday or Saturday, you're here. Oh, the Cowboys are bringing Looney in for the rest of the season, as long as he hasn't eaten himself out of house and home. Which I'm sure Joe Looney's keeping watch, keeping pace, and waiting for that call. But I think that's I kind of think that's where it's at. Yeah, unless something massive was to happen from an injury standpoint, then they'd have to pull the trigger quicker. But I think that's their thought process of where they're at with it.
Yeah, because he had mentioned that, like I said, Connor Williams being left guard, but also talked highly on Connor McGovern. And I know we've spoken about Connor McGovern getting more reps as well. And so, maybe that could be an option where you could just use, Connor Williams as your kind of your center. If something was to happen with Tyler Biadasz, like I said, he kind of let the cat out of the bag when he mentioned Looney. So I would definitely probably think he's going to bring him in sometime soon, whether it's after their first game or prior to the camp. But also want to dive into another position. So we all know our three-headed monster at the wide receiver slot, right? With
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb and
Yeah.
Amari Cooper and Michael
Yeah.
Gallup. But this fourth wide receiver position
Get a little
is
interesting.
starting. It's getting
It's
a
getting a little
lot of
interesting.
interesting, right? So you're seeing Malik Turner flash early
Yeah.
in camp, right? But then also you're seeing Noah Brown have a great camp as well, and then Cedric Wilson. So Mike McCarthy kind of spoke about that. It's like he wants a guy that's versatile that can play outside, inside. He spoke highly on Noah Brown. He was like, he's a competitor. He's tough. I love Noah Brown. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm penciling Noah Brown on the final roster.
Are you penciling him at 4?
I'm penciling Noah Brown on the roster.
But are you gonna put him at number 4 though?
I'm not gonna put him at
Okay.
number 4 right now, but I'm gonna put him on the.
Well, I mean, they
roster.
did. What game was that last year, Tuck? Where old boy went out and like they kept throwing the dadgum.
Noah Brown.
No, about like 3-4 straight plays. Like, what are we doing?
Was that Eagles game? Was that DiNucci?
Was it? No.
Oh,
It wasn't DiNucci. We was at home. Yeah, we was at home.
It was one of those games. Yeah, it was like,
I know. It was like,
was getting mad reps. It was like,
what are we doing?
What is going on? But yeah, but Mike McCarthy's eyes lit up when Noah Brown was mentioned. He spoke very highly of him. But like I said, Malik Turner's having a great camp. And a guy that we all spoke about, you know what I'm saying? Finney, we haven't heard, much about Finney. So what does that really mean? Now, Mike McCarthy said it's not about the final 53, it's about the final 68. Okay, cool. About the final 53 is what we're going to focus on. Okay.
So thank you, Shonda Jones. The 49ers game. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, 49ers game.
The 49ers game. Yes, Matto as well. Yeah, I mean, Simi, he's a rookie. So we don't know, get the bird's eye view. How much of the reps does he get as a 5th-round rook? Maybe just be a little silky smooth. And again, like you said, Brown came out the gate dogging and doing things in a little bit better, slimmer shape too. And we know when it comes to Brown, we said it'll be a dogfight to get Brown off of here. Because he can block well. He's a special teams contributor. So we know those things about him. We know that Cedric Wilson has a pretty good relationship with Dak, but now Turner stepping into that role and whatnot is, Simi's, ooh. Now we got to get some of these games. We got to get some of these games and see. But, I mean, it looks, if they're only carrying 5, I don't think Simi's going to make it.
Right. Yeah. And that's what Matt O just said. I'm not sure Simi's going to make the team. And it's just like, I don't think – he's not going to be able to get through the waivers. I don't see that happening. So it's like, I don't know how things are going to work out with Simi. Because like I said, the way that Malik Turner is out of camp, he throws a new wrench into the plan.
Yeah.
He already had. I felt like the conversation we had Simi kind of penciled in, but it was going to come down between Noah Brown or Sid. But I feel like right now you might get both of them just because of special teams ability.
It's true.
Like you got to consider that factor, and it's just like, all right, what does that really mean? But it's going to be interesting to see that.
Yeah, you got 2 spots and 4 dogs out there going after that bone, man. Unless it goes 6, and then
here's the key. Also, now you got to own your reps and get your film with Ben DiNucci throwing you the ball. So it's still And so now it really changes.
Oh my God!
Like, all right, I'm in a good play, but Ben DiNucci just overshot that by a long shot. So you're not going to get now defense. They're going to get all the film they need. They're going to get all the highlights, all the picks. But offensively, you're trying to get some reps and get some looks offensively as a wide receiver. With Ben DiNucci and Gary Gilbert tossing those balls your way, you're going to have to really go up and make a play and make something happen. Because he saw this with CeeDee Lamb. He's like, I'm not going to go get this, man. Because
fair.
It's going to be interesting.
Fair. To see how not everybody's CeeDee.
Not everybody is CeeDee, man. What's up, Alan? So what's up, Tuck? What's up, BJ? So the wide receivers position, wide receiver 4 and 5. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going on the books. I'm stamping Noah Brown on the final 53 roster.
You got one. Are you gonna pick another one, or that's your 4 for now? I mean, the big three's made it. The big three's made it.
That's my 4 for now. I got Noah Brown.
Fair enough. A lot of time left, though, Tuck. A lot of time left.
A lot of time on the clock left. Like I said, from what I see for Noah Brown, and like I said,
you saw the
way that Mike McCarthy's eye, it's a spark. It was a different spark from when Reggie Robinson's name was mentioned, but also Noah Brown. So I'm kind of reading Mike McCarthy. So I feel like Noah Brown is going to make that roster, and it's going to come down to Turner or Cedric Wilson, and then we'll see what happens with Simi. Trying to think about any other nuggets that I missed. I know that he spoke about Hard Knocks. He said it's not really a distraction. He just can't really, say the things the way that you want to say it. So Hey, man, what's up, Coach? Appreciate, man, the super chat, man. Appreciate the support, man. Appreciate the support. Uh, you got a
Chipping in
question,
on the
bro?
bottom.
Chipping on the
He said,
bottom, man.
he
I
said chipping in
appreciate
on
you,
the
man.
bottom. Well, I
Had
mean,
a
I will
few.
say you're out there in California, so the prices are up. So
Probably, man. Yeah. To be honest with you, it's kind of chilly out here in Oxnard, man. I guess coming from the Vegas desert to here, I was like,
right,
man,
it's
I
like,
should have
ooh,
brought a
where's
hoodie,
my
man.
long
But
sleeve?
yeah, where's my long? I should have brought the long sleeve
I
joint.
tell
But
you
it's
what, we
kind
did
of,
like Joe and a couple people talking about the backup quarterback. I know we touched that earlier,
yeah,
but some people got here late. But yeah, we talked about it a little bit. Maybe when it comes to the backup quarterback, it's look, Gilbert's not as playing as bad as everybody else is, Ben DiNucci and Rush. However, it's a problem. But I'm saying
right,
that it's not a problem. But as me and Tuck talked about, what's your real solution? I mean, at this point, there's nobody you're going to be able to go get. If that goes down, the ship's going to sink. We
right.
got to wait for some cuts and see if some things shake loose and what we can go get. I mean, let me ask you this, Tuck. I'm not into the let's just sign Blake Bortles just cause.
Right.
No. If they don't believe in him, don't bring him in here.
Right.
What's the point?
Right.
What about now? I think because Spoonie brought this up on the Stargate show. Hudley, who was formerly drafted by Mike McCarthy, he's available. Maybe that's somebody you bring in to kick the tires on.
And his name has floated with us a few times prior. And so I thought Hudley was going to be a guy that we're going to bring in. I'm not sure it really happened, but yeah. But then you got to ask yourself, is there really a difference between Hudley and Garrett Gilbert?
Yeah.
If that goes down and we got Hudley out there, it's not like, all right, we're good now. Like, no, I'm still on edge, man, about it. So it's like, I feel like right now, y'all, there's really no guy that we can bring in that kind of has that security blanket. Like I said, last year was just kind of a blip in the radar because the Cowboys really never had, and you go back to Romo days, like we really never had that quarterback. If something was to happen with Tony, we're like, all right, and that's why like the Dak thing kind of worked out, because we've been through Brad Johnsons and the Kellen Moores, and we did
Brandon Whedon's
and Mark Sanchez and something. So we've been there before, and so I feel like that's just where we are right now currently. But I would like to see the Dallas Cowboys bring in a solidified backup, but there's really nobody out there at this point. Tebow time, maybe.
I mean, boy, the cupboard is dry, brother.
Yeah,
my goodness, it's I mean, there you go. I like Matt Owen. Let's call Andrew Luck and see what's up. Hey, feel like getting off the couch and being a backup and getting a free check. But but hell, the Colts might need to call him up because their quarterback has got a foot problem. Out indefinitely.
Or call up Phillip Rivers like, hey man, I know you got a few kids, man.
Philip, you got 12 kids now? Was it 12, 13? Yeah. Man, come over here, earn this check and just chill out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Just chill out.
Might as well have Kellen Moore put on the pads. At least he knows. I would probably feel better to have Kellen out there versus Gary Gilbert. And we'll be currently having.
Shout out to the collective.
But I will say this though. Garrett Gilbert did flash in that Steelers game. Now maybe it's a flash in the pan, and that was his one shining moment. But I don't even want to think about it.
And he got the opportunity, right? Because he actually played the XFL that year, right? It was the XFL, the USFL,
and he came from New England, right? He played with New England. So he won a Super Bowl, or he was on a Super Bowl roster with New England, I thought.
Maybe. I don't know. I know he played at SMU. He was down there in Texas, SMU. The funny thing is, like, man, this cat's like 30. He's not young.
Right.
Like you would think he's young. He's old. He's young. I mean, he played like 5-6 years in college. He's kind of bounced around, but he played some quote unquote semi-pro football, which they needed the chance with Dallas, which obviously he at least for one game in his life against Pittsburgh, played pretty well. Now how's that going to translate forward? We have to wait and see. But guys, we would love to have
let's
a
just
starter.
Hope we don't get to that case. Let's hope we don't get to that case. Dak's fine.
Yeah, Dak's fine.
You don't have to worry about it, man.
I mean, Dak's been pretty solid throughout.
Yeah, he's been solid, man. So, like I said, I didn't want to put that in the air. So keep the questions going, man. I'm gonna stay on about 30 more minutes before it gets freezing out here.
Don't die out there now. So, Dallas Stock said Randy Gregory moved to a leadership role today. Big move for him, which is awesome. From his mental health, the things that he's battled. If you watched how he's went through and done, big shout to him and getting voted into the leadership council.
Well, yeah, there you go, Matt. Maybe Cedric Wilson's going to be on the roster because he's going to be our backup quarterback too, just in case.
Well, it was a nice ball.
Yeah. I mean, he played quarterback before, and I know there was conversation about him playing. He was the backup last year in Philly, wasn't he? Because he was like the only other quarterback we had on the roster when he played Philly.
Yeah.
We had DiNucci on the roster. So but maybe he's go with Cedric Wilson, man, and he was taking snaps at quarterback last year. Who knows? But
Man,
like I said, I don't even want to get to that point.
Yeah, we're not even gonna get to that. If we're running 3 tight ends, sets, and we're pounding the rock. That's what we're doing.
Right? Yeah. That's what
long.
we're really gonna do. We're gonna go in the phone booth. It said unless Gary Gilbert is the modern day version of Kurt Warner, we need a better backup quarterback.
Right, and hey, look, and nobody knew Kurt Warner was going to be Kurt Warner until he got to play. So I mean,
right.
and that's the one thing that we do have to look at it, guys. It's a vacuum. It's the first week of training camp, and where they're at. And again, a little bit of the Nucci stink is rubbed off more on Kellen Moore Gilbert than it's been Gilbert. I mean, give us some time. Let's see some preseason games.
Right.
Let's see him actually get some live reps and see what's going on. Right now, it's definitely knee-jerk reaction, especially because you hear it because of the strain, the overreaction. Oh, my God, what's going on? A little PTSD from what happened with Dak last year. But, I mean, again, as Tuck said, I said, there's nothing available now. We got to just let it play through and see what's out there and see how Gilbert plays. And then we'll come back to it in circle and see. Then it's like, okay, after the Hall of Fame game, there's a couple of practices Hall of Fame game, we'll be like, okay, all right. Time to change the narrative here.
Right, yeah. Like I said, if we come out next Thursday and they're out there throwing ducks around, we're like, all right, bro. Like, but I feel like Mike McCarthy would address it. Like, I feel like because that's going to be the question that's going to be asked frequently. It's like, all right, what is your backup? Because even though, as far as the ankle is concerned, things are checking out good with Dak, but just some of those lingering injuries that can happen throughout the course of the season, you want to have some type of insurance policy. And I'm sure there's some guys out there that we just haven't thought of, but at this point, man, the cover is kind of bare, and so.
Well, I mean, I'll get you. I'll get you a nice list. I'll get you a nice list of free agent QBs real quick. Free agent QBs. Let's get a little.
Or I brought the practice jersey with me also. Just
I mean, go ahead, sir. We haven't seen you own it yet. It's about time. All right, Okay, here we go. Boom. Ooh, Brett Hundley's at the top of the list, by the way.
Okay, Hundley.
Cole McDonald. Matt Schwab's 40. You want to call it Matt Schwab? RG3, obviously. Matt Barkley, Tyler Bray, Tommy Stevens, Kevin Hogan, Ryan Finley. Obviously, Matt Schwab has retired by his name, by the way. Phillip Rivers obviously has retired as well. Jordan Ta'amu, Matt Moore. Matt Moore
did decent in Kansas City. He kept them afloat.
He's 37. Obviously he's been here in Dallas before. Matt Moore.
Alex Smith.
Alex retired though. I mean, Alex for sure would be the A1, but he's retired. So I think he came back. He played on that leg. He got to walk off the field the way he wanted to.
Right, he wanted to.
I think that's that. Joe Webb did forever. Joe Webb, who's been on every single team ever. Shout out to my guy Joe. Josh Johnson, another one of those guys. Every single team ever. Drew Stanton at 37.
Again. Like I said, any of those guys, I'm not feeling any more confident. So maybe that's a sentiment the Cowboys are sharing. Like we ain't got nobody else. He's like, if you were to bring in Hundley or let's say Matt Barkley, you're not feeling any more confident than Gary Gilbert, man.
Like I said, about the only thing that made me feel a little bit better, like I said, Matt Moore, sure.
Yeah.
Matt Moore, Phillip, you want to, and Phillip's not going to be that kind of guy I want to go and take a backup role now as much as he played. So Matt Moore's about the only guy I would look at and be like,
yeah. I feel like Matt Moore is one of those guys who can keep things afloat for a temporary time if everything is perfect conditions. If you give him an O-line, wide receivers, and Zeke and Pollard, okay, you can probably get Matt Moore back there to kind of bridge us until Dak would need to come back. But as of right now,
again, and therein lies the issue of which we talked about leading up to the draft. Would Mike McCarthy possibly draft another quarterback this year? And obviously he's doubled down with Ben DiNucci.
Thing with 11 picks, you could just snagged one, but
right,
and go all defense, right? So.
And Matt, the professor says, got to watch on cuts. Nick Mullins, there you go. A guy like that. So a Gardner Minshew, if perhaps you can get him for a 7th round pick, or if they're going to cut him right up against the date, and just kind of what we think, man, is
when's the first
that'll
day
be
of
the
cuts?
time.
I forgot the
Well,
cut
it's only one time now. Remember, they used to do like cuts, but now it's just that one cut. They all flood the market, and then you go from there now.
I got you.
So, but let's see. Cut date is. Let's see what the NFL cut date is this year, real quick. NFL 2021 cut dates.
Yeah, Philly's okay with Jalen and Flacco. They may let Nick Mullins go.
Oh, they did layer it a little bit this year. Okay. So August 17th to 85 players, August 24th to 80, and then August 31st to 53.
Okay, so we got to August 31st. Okay. So you'll probably start seeing some of these players start to drip off here, next week, and then, within the month of August that maybe we can snatch somebody. Ben DiNucci is so bad the wide receivers cannot look good when he's throwing it. Yeah, like I said, that's going to be the hard part for some of these wide receivers who are trying to make this team. Is like, all right, now you got to do it with Ben DiNucci and Garrett Gilbert. So best of luck. So that's the hard part. And
good luck, young buck.
Right. And it seems like Ben DiNucci has some attachment to Mike McCarthy because that was the reason why we drafted him with his brother.
Well, his brother coached him and all that. Right.
The
little rubbing of the elbows here.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was nothing I saw in that Philly game except the name. The name is cool. You know what I'm saying? I like
Nucci, man.
And all. It's very marketable. But besides that, man, I don't want to see Ben DiNucci on the field in any significant games, getting any reps. I can't do it. Because you got to think about it. Even though last year, what if it's those brief moments when Dak needs to go out maybe for a concussion protocol? I don't trust what we
run
have
the ball.
currently.
Run the damn ball. Run the damn ball.
Run the damn go put my hat on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm David, my hat's in my room. I should go get my hat on real quick. Yeah, go run the damn ball.
Let's see. Okay, so I think Professor O mentioned this, and I didn't hear Dan Quinn. I keep seeing DQ. I think it was Dairy Queen. DQ didn't sound convincing on Jalen. Then the struggle with the sled.
Oh, the boy Blizzard. Yeah, I mean, there was some. Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of reps or whatever. It happens in camp. I've been at practices where guys hit the sled and it doesn't go up sometimes.
That sled is slippery. Yeah,
it happens.
I know Dan Quinn said anything legitimate, but it was about that sled, bro. Because we saw even the first day, Jalen Smith was popping the sled. It just happens, man. That sled is slippery. And Keanu Neal had to go back and restart.
Right.
He said basically just said he looked good in blitzing. Okay, so that's what Matt was talking about. That dang. Yeah, and when we spoken about that going forth north and south, that's what Jalen does.
Sam set the edge, go get the quarterback, or drop it to the flat. That's all we need from him. Outside of that, it's going to be a tough. We know it's going to be tough sledding. We watched him in zone coverage last year, so we're going to address that. Where the good things about getting Dan Quinn here, he becomes that Sam where he's going to set that edge, and either he's going to go get the quarterback, contain for the running back, or just drop out here. I mean, I'd much rather see Jalen dropping how Dorrance Armstrong was dropping last year. Dear God, exactly. Much better look for us that way.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, they're going to simplify things, and they're going to put players in a position to do what they do best. And you're seeing that across the board. Like I said, now from an offensive standpoint, like I said, when you come out, you have to account for Randy Gregory, DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, and Jalen Smith. You can get so creative in those blitz games. You know what I'm saying? It's not the California win, but I'm getting chills, man.
I'm over here in hot ass East Texas. I'm getting some chills too hearing that stuff. So don't worry about it. Yeah. Well, it makes you feel some type of way when you start talking about that kind of stuff.
It does.
Lacey says, go ahead.
Yeah, we should bring in Blake Bortles, and do you think we should trade for Xavier Howard? We spoke about Blake Bortles. It's but as far as Xavier Howard, I would do it. I would press that start button on that trade and just give him that first and just move on and I'll be done with it. But that's me. We've been down this road, and I feel like Cowboys are starting to get greedy.
And again, Blake Bortles, if that's the end all be all, sure. However, I think, when it comes to that, I wouldn't knee-jerk and sign Blake Bortles now because I think, like we talked about, some of these guys, the Nick Mullins and whoever, might get released and we maybe do something a little bit better there than Blake Bortles. I was passionate about this Wednesday night. I'll return it again when I was on with Matt and everybody. Absolutely, I think the Cowboys should press the button and go get Xavier Howard because the one thing that I've asked for this team, especially underneath the Stephen Jones era, is push your chips to the middle. Be serious. Jerry Jones said, "You don't know what I would do to get to the Super Bowl. There's a glaring need over here. We don't know. There's a bunch of ifs, and we're talking about Anthony Brown possibly being the guy. Okay, this guy's available. You know, of the past 3 years, right? 17 years, 10 last year, 17 years, 7 2 years ago. He was a little beat up last year, right? Go sit in the first and go get him and make the push. This offense is ready to go. This is a Super Bowl healthy. This is an offense that can go to the Super Bowl. We need more from the defense. You have a question mark. You can do it with a first-round draft pick or maybe second in a particular player.
Right.
You know, and you should go do that. In my opinion, you absolutely should go do that.
Because we spoke about a second ago about the different blitz schemes and what you can do with the front seven. If you just go get that one last infinity stone where you can really just set that's just that final one. If you go get Xavier Howard, it changes a lot defensively. You have, Jordan Lewis, you have, Trayvon Diggs, Xavier Howard. Then you can slow play Nashawn Wright and Kelvin Joseph out there. You have Malik Hooker. You have, Donovan Wilson. Now you look at this Dallas Cowboys team completely different because it's you have playmakers on the outside as far as your corners are concerned. You have a playmaker at the free safety position. You have the front seven that can be dynamic. You can do a lot. And now the defensive roster doesn't match the offense, but it gets a lot closer to being more compromisable to what we currently have. And so you can definitely do that with just getting that one player. And so will they do it? Absolutely not. Would I do it? Absolutely yes.
Yes. Well, and look, and even Jerry's he mentioned, either whether it was Deion Sanders or if it was a Charles Haley, one of those tops. Well, look, nobody's saying that Howard's. I mean, who the hell is Deion Sanders in this day and time? But you look at a Howard and you go make that move. And look, and maybe you just looked up. Hey, how about this one, Tuck? Maybe we lucked up, and Parsons is going to be that Haley for us to just a defensive weapon to transcend and help, not from the pure pass rushing defensive end guy, but being that guy that can help transcend because he's a weapon to get moved all over the place. Again, the time is now, especially with Jerry and where he's at. They haven't went all the way in a long time. For me, I would pull the trigger. Now, I'm not giving up the farm. I'm not giving up 2 firsts and some wild stuff. But straight up first, I'll send it to you. Hey, you want Connor Williams or maybe I'll be hesitant to trade Connor McGovern. We got him a little bit longer, right? But, maybe an LVE in the last year of his deal, lose a little bit of depth there. I hate to do that, but I think we're okay in a second. By all means, I would whatever it takes. I would definitely go do it within reason, though.
Yeah, I feel like that's the one move that can really push this defense over the edge. We've talked about it ad nauseum thus far. That question mark with the outside corner. Well,
super question mark, bro. Just fix it.
Let's just take care. Let's fix it.
Yeah,
we're done with it. Done. Oh, you guys want your safety? You got your safety. You wanted to fix the run defense. We fixed that. You wanted your corners. We got your corners. All right, let's play ball. And I feel like why not? Why wait? Why dance around it? Granted, if we don't have a first round, I'm a Mavericks fan. We didn't have any picks last night in the draft. It's okay. I will live if we don't have a first-round pick in the NFL draft next year in Vegas. I will be okay if you go get me the caliber of player of Xavier Howard with this defense. So, but we know because we're going to have to pay. So we're talking about the 2 no-nos of Stephen Jones, right? Trading draft capital and also
got to spend some money.
Oh, that's a no-go, man. That is a no. Oh, yeah. Stephen Jones,
He was like, I don't like that. The banana in the corner. You want 2? No.
Draft capital and cash giving them both.
Because that was the thing with Amari. You had to spend the draft capital, but you didn't have to pay him right away.
Right.
You got away with it for a couple of seasons.
Right.
This one is like draft capital. But here's the thing, though. Now, maybe though, just maybe, if you made the trade, you could talk him into, hey, we're going to take care of you just next year. Right? Let's look at Jamal Adams, right? He was going to get paid. They gave up the capital to get him over there, and Seattle said, we'll pay you next year. And he was cool. He was kosher all year long. No problems, no worries. Now, maybe we can do it that way, right? And then next year we get to the cap jump. We can maneuver more things then, and you're able to pay him and do what you got to do. Now, that sounds good in theory, and that's very plausible, can work. But again, what's our guy calling Rome? Dollar Jones, Dollar Store Stephen Jones.
Yeah, he ain't gonna do that. No, that's not the dollar store, man.
Not the dollar store.
But KMT brought up a good point. He's locked until 2024. He wanted more guarantee because he even said that in his Instagram soliloquy, right? Because that's how you got to. That's how you got to request your trades. You got to go to Instagram, man. Like that's how you know.
Right. That's the new way. That's the new way.
But he said he's not wanting more money. He just wanted more guarantees. And
Guaranteed.
so maybe that can be the conversation.
Yeah.
You know?
Look, look. All you gotta do is make the trade and say, "Look, son, Jerry's gonna be like, there's a car parked out back for you.
Right.
There's a couple of bags in there,
right.
unmarked, unsequential bills.
Right.
You're taken care of. We'll see you on Monday for practice. Have a good night."
Oh, do you like
just on Jay,
Jordan
just
Brand?
slide him a bag underneath the table. Don't worry about it.
Do you like Jordan Brand? Do you like Miller Lite? Do you
what do you like?
Yeah. Beats by Dre. I got you. It's coming together. We'll take care of you on that end, and then we'll take care of things on the other end. But like I said, man, I'm all for that trade.
Here's a little bag, Howard. We respect you. Look, tax free. Here's a little bag for you. Go right ahead. It's fine.
Yeah, man. It would definitely work. Like I said, that would definitely put this team over the top. If you're able to go get Xavier Howard, like I'm being greedy, y'all. We got, like I said, we got Malik Hooker. Like, all right, got you your damn safety.
But it's feasible though, Tug. But it's feasible. That's the thing about it.
It's like you got a PS5, but I want a new controller too.
Well, they got Aaron Donald over there with the Rams. Did it? We got Jalen Ramsey. Can we be a little greedy?
They got. If you play, man, they got 299 club members on the same defense. Just like,
I'm just saying. All in, baby. All or nothing. Like these kind of guys don't come along and become available, man. And you gotta do what you gotta say. You gotta do, step into the play, man. Come on, Steven. Do it like your pops used to do it back in the day one time.
Right.
Swing for the fences.
Give your dad the keys, man. Give them the keys. It's one last time, man. But speaking of
Stephen
Jones, he said something interesting in an interview today on 105.3 The Fan. He said that that Micah Parsons was their highest rated defensive player over the corners. So
they would have took it.
Why are they still having this conversation all the way pretty much in camp? Why are they still talking about those two corners and Micah Parsons in the draft? Like, why can't we not move on from that story?
Well, one, because they like to be right. So even though it wasn't the pick they wanted, he wants to make sure to let you know, hey, it was the highest graded guy we had. I'll let you know.
Right.
And
when you told us the night after the draft he wasn't. So, but right. It's okay. Go ahead.
It's fine.
Short
get it out of here.
Memories.
Yeah. No one remembers that anymore. And then too, I think someone to a certain extent is we see it. We just got through talking about Xavier Howard. That CB2 is not said by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not, through OTAs, rookie OTAs, mini camps. We've been out here. We've had a couple padded practices. Things have happened. And, we just don't have that number 2 slot settled. So obviously it's like, man, if we had, even if it was unseasoned chicken, like you called it.
I would love unseasoned chicken.
Unseasoned chicken, whether it was Horn or the unseasoned guy. Excuse me. Oh my God. Junior. Patrick Surtain. Excuse me. Jeez. This conversation is not happening. They're number 2 right now, and that's it. That's done. We're not even discussing this Anthony Brown BS, in my opinion, being the starter on the outside. So here we are, and that's just where the mix is. But again, Steven just wants to say, hey, just let you know, guys, we got our guy because he was the highest rated one. We traded back and still got him. Makes it look even better. Right. Whatever, bro. Like, yeah, man. So like I said, I appreciate you, my guy, for jumping on. Yeah, I'm not gonna let Stephen Jones ruin my time out here in Oxnard, man. But before we go, man, let everybody know where they can find you, my guy. Oh yeah, man. Twitter at the bottom as you see it. Your_guy_Dix, man. Come over there, follow me. We have a good time over that way. YouTube, Stargame Podcast is the channel. By all means, go over there, hit that like, or hit that sub, hit that notification bell. Come follow me, Mary Ellis Spooney, and our guy Matt O. Wherever Wednesday for sure. And if you happen to be on the Facebook, that's your thing. We got a group over there, 6,000 plus strong. Join the group, join the conversation there too, man. Appreciate you, J Tuck. Always my guy.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, man. And everyone watching the channel, of course, follow me on Twitter at JTuck151. And then also on the YouTube channel, comment, like, subscribe, Cowboys fans only. I am live out here in Oxnard, California. I will be out there at training camp tomorrow. Now, I'm not going to do anything live, man. I'm not going to be live streaming out there because I want to be able to really conceptually visualize and see where everything's going on versus trying to get the proper angles. I will have videos and different things like that, of course. But after, I'll be doing a live show. So you free tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it. Let's rock it.
All right, I'll hit you. We'll jump
Yeah,
back on, man, and do it tomorrow. After training camp, and definitely dive in on what we saw tomorrow. And here we go, man. I really wanted to see some Dak, out there, and
You'll see him out there moving around. I mean, he's been showing up still.
Yeah,
you'll see
but
I know.
I want to see some of them Dak
I know.
strikes, man.
Yeah, it's like
it's all Nucci, man. But it is what it is. Like I said, I'll be out there at camp, man. You know what I'm saying? So we're definitely gonna break things down tomorrow. Then also
that part.
Sunday, we'll also do that as well. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Everyone have a good Friday evening. And also, if you're watching the CFO channel, I just dropped the Fan Friday. Salute to the Fan Friday episode with my girl Malibu Mariah. She's on featured. So definitely go check that out, man. She became a Cowboys fan, and yeah, cool person, man. So definitely check that out. Like I said, hit that notification bell because you never know we're gonna go live. It's your boy Jay Tuck. Peace out, everyone. Have a good one.